Leader Burke, you've mentioned a number of times that we're in this public health crisis. In a quick summary, is the idea that we need to expand early voting and vote by mail because you feel some people within the electorates might not be comfortable voting for health reasons?
Yes.
So my question is allowing children to now be active participants as election judges, how is that protecting those that can't protect themselves?
They're currently allowed to be election judges.
I understand, but you said that we were going to expand it to 16 and 17.
16 and 17-year-olds are currently allowed to act as election judges, but there's some criteria that they have to meet in terms of a GPA and some other school requirements. This takes away those requirements so that those young folks can act as election judges. I mean, voting and election are essential civic functions, and we need to make sure that we have those, that we have the facilities available. And as I'm sure many of you have experienced, a lot of the judges historically have been older folks, and they're justifiably a little hesitant to step forward. And so if we have younger people who are willing to do that, I think that's something we should be encouraging.
In the middle of a public health crisis, you want to expand the ability for children to be election judges.
Are you suggesting that we decrease the ability to vote? I guess I don't know where you're going with this.
I'm just understanding how that addresses the current COVID crisis. If the idea is we want more voter participation and 16 and 17-year-olds for the most part aren't able to vote, I don't understand why we would expand the ability for children to be put front and center into a global health crisis, and I just don't understand what the spirit is behind that expansion, is my question.
I think I've stated the reason.
Okay. Leader Demmer mentioned when it came to the ballot boxes, and I don't want to belabor the point, but is there anything that currently restricts the placement of these? So, for example, in heavily Republican areas or heavy Democrat areas, is there any guidance that can protect, the placement at all?
I don't mean to bring out the lawyer in me, but honestly, this has been asked and answered numerous times.
Understood. How about for the mail-in ballots? Is there anything that addresses the address for those that are going to be unavailable in perhaps a different state? Can somebody still request a mail-in ballot for perhaps Wisconsin?
So can you clarify the situation? They're an Illinois resident who has a temporary residence in Wisconsin?
No, for somebody that perhaps is a resident of Illinois but is maybe not available, can they have that ballot mailed to a different state?
Yes, just as they currently can. And an example of that would be a student away at college.
So if the governor is working on his family farm in Wisconsin, nothing will prohibit him from voting in November?
If the governor requests an absentee ballot, he's more than entitled to.
Thank you. To the bill. I think we've spoken about this issue, Speaker, for hours now. And my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have mentioned a number of times that we want as many people to vote as possible. I would suggest that we insert just a few additional words. We want as many likely Democrats to vote as possible. If this bill affected my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, their ability to win an election by 1%, this bill would go down in flames. But we're going to expand the ability for children to play a more active part into our elections, even in light of a global pandemic. We're not going to address fair maps. We're going to make sure that the districts are effectively drawn so my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have a better chance of winning elections. But I'll quote a famous Democrat by Rahm Emanuel: "You never let a crisis go to waste." I encourage my colleagues to vote no. Thank you.